What is going on, guys? Another episode of the Dent Digest live show. I've got a guest on tonight that I'm super excited. He's been a follower for quite a while, and I met him at MTE a couple years ago, and such a great dude. But I want to get into last week's show. You see me doing my part, wearing a mask. You know, that's the world we're in right now, right? It's the world we're in. So do your part, wear your mask, social distance. But last week, man, my boy Joey, if you guys missed that show, you got to go back. Just a down-to-earth guy. And it's funny, had him on the show last week and, called him this week because we actually got some hail. So I gave Joey a call and, talked about some stuff about what we've got going on. And, it's just nice to have that network of people. You've got that network of people and building that network over the years. So it's nice if you have an issue to where you can call a person and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, I need some help. Can you come? And, it's nice. I had some guys reach out to me because I don't have all the hail end of it. I don't have all of the tools to tell me when the hail hits. So, I had one of the guys reach out and they were like, hey, you got hail in your area. And then the phone started ringing. So it was super cool. I love the network of people in our industry and I enjoy it. So, but I want to get going. We've got a busy show here. Got a lot to go over, some really good story. And let's get into this. So I'm going to bring him on. Let's see what we got here. Mr. Pax. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Look,
what is going on?
He's over and where are you?
I'm in Vancouver, BC, Canada. So this is the west coast of Canada. We're about 2 hours north of Seattle. So we're really close. I'm going to take this off now.
Me too.
So you can hear me.
So how are things there?
In terms of the economy or?
Yeah, economy, everything going on over there.
Oh, man. I think March was kind of okay. Like you see, Vancouver was a spot where a lot of, when Hong Kong was changing hands over to China, in the 90s, I guess. And a lot of people from Hong Kong moved here. So we have a really big connection with Hong Kong. So the whole SARS thing and stuff, people were really aware of that. So when this COVID-2 thing hit, we kind of heard about it in January, February. Yeah. So people were getting ready really early. In terms of getting infection and deaths and stuff, it's pretty low here. We've been really, really lucky. So we have a really good health officer for our province. So we've been super lucky. The economy, we're kind of shut down, but it's pretty elective. We're in stage 2. Restaurants are kind of opening up again, but very, very, very half open. You can't get a seat beside another table. They encourage takeout.
Yeah.
But generally, everyone's pretty compliant with what the health officer wants to do.
That's good.
So it's pretty chill. It's pretty good, I think. For PDR and work, the dealerships are pretty. They're just starting to open up now. I think they're kind of trying to catch up. They had their sales and stuff. I also work at an auction, so at Odessa, and it's really bad there. I had to use a washroom in an outhouse today, and I was so sick, man. I had to disinfect myself afterwards.
Nice.
So yeah, it was awful. But retail's good. It's been really nice just focusing on retail. Pretty much that's all I've been doing for 2 months. I've been building like new networks with like the ceramic coating shops and detail shops and
Yeah.
the wrap shops. So that's like sort of a new kind of area for me.
Nice.
So it's been kind of cool to work on that. Yeah.
So let's get into your story a little bit. We'll start there and then we'll get into where you are. Like I said, we met MTE 2 years ago. Yeah, two
Yeah.
years
2 years
ago.
ago. Yeah.
And and we were talking. It was a funny conversation because we were like walking into breakfast, and then you reached up and you're like, "Hey, Ryan," and we sat there and talked, and I was like, "Yeah," he was wearing a jacket, and I was like, somehow we were talking about Stanliner, and I was like, "I just don't get it," I just don't get it, and you're like, "I'm just letting you know,
Yeah.
I'm a true Stanliner guy," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm not talking bad about it. I just didn't understand it."
Yeah, I didn't want to set you up to say anything like kind of, I didn't want to make it awkward, right? Because, I like your online personality and stuff, but it wasn't just me. Like my good buddy Clint was right beside me. So we're both Stanliner guys. So
it was good.
But that's the year funny. That's the year you got like the one-on-one with Kaz, right?
I did.
He spent like an hour and a half with you or something.
It was, I'll tell you, it was a once in a lifetime. And I saw him this year and he goes, "You want more? You want more?" And I was like, "I got to work a booth. I would love to, but
it's cool. Yeah. Great guy.
We'll get into all that. So how did you get into Paintless? Let's get into your history a little bit, how you got introduced and what you did before Paintless and kind of rock and roll from there. We do have some tools. So let's get into tools real quick.
Yeah. Tools first? Okay.
Let you go first. Go for it.
Okay. So I got two. First is this is nothing super special, right? This is just a interchangeable tip. So this is not a Stanliner tool, but this is a tip I got from Kaz himself. So it's like Stanliner idea. So you got your soft tip, but you can put an extension on here, and you can actually push on the side of this on the edge. So basically, you get a sharp tip push on the edge. So he does stuff like samurai and stuff on the edge. So the effect of it, if you're just doing a regular twist, is like it's kind of like a 226 where you have that sharp point like pushing straight into the panel. So you can use the edge of this and you can get a very similar sharp tip push. So that's a really cool tip. If
good
you
idea.
Need it, yeah, it's awesome, man, and it's sharp. So this hasn't been talked about a lot. This is just a mini version of it, or a shortened version. This is from Cam Auto, and it's a bridge I've been using for a while, and I really, really like it. Yeah. So it comes in like a super long bridge, but you can get this is a shorter piece, and you can just interchange it. So basically, you can have the long and the short to use all in one. So
watch that roof.
Yeah. My sunroof. It is tall. This thing is tall. Like this thing is crazy tall. So that's one thing that's really different about the Kiko bridge and the other bridges out there. And the other thing is it's on, I don't know if you can see, but it's on these bearings here. So when you spin it, it's like once you get a lot of pressure on, like I find that, it gets like really hard to turn, and it can slip right on the Kiko one. But this one is just like 3 fingers. Like you're pulling and pulling, the panel's getting messed up, and it deceives you because you're just turning like 3 fingers. It's just got so much power. But the thing you'll have to get used to is the hook, because you have to do a lot of like going down, and to get into the loops, you have to hook down into it. And if you want to use like centipedes with it, it's going to work because you can get that U-bolt adapter with a grabber. And it's tall enough where it can accommodate all that. So it can still, the only thing is I wish the feet were square so you can get it really tight to the tabs. But it's a pretty sweet system. It's heavy. It's aluminum, I think, the bridge, but it's heavy.
He's amazing with some of that stuff, man. I mean, he's got some new stuff coming out that is just, and he's more geared towards the collision stuff. But
true, yeah.
The Paintless guys just kind of embraced him, and he's really done well. Some of his products, I mean, it's unbelievable. Some of the tabs that I have from him are like nothing else that's out there, and they pull
Yeah,
like a
for
son
sure.
of a gun when you need them,
Yeah, they're thick, right?
Yeah.
And I find like the ones with the metal core, you get a really uh,
Yes.
flat pull on it, and it's really strong. But he's got some plastic loop ones. I've been playing around with those a lot,
Yes.
and because they're stretchy, you get more of that center pull. It's
It,
really interesting.
it reminds me of wiggle wire in the
Yeah,
body shop. And the ones with the metal core, when I first saw them, I was a little scared. You're putting glue
yeah,
on there, you're pushing the tab, and the metal core one has like a little sharp center piece, and you're like,
yes, yeah,
you're putting it on, you're like, I don't know, but I
yeah,
haven't screwed one up yet. So,
yeah. I filed those down, so
do
I
you
got rid of
really?
them.
I
I
think
did. I did. Yeah,
I'm
take a
not
file
scared.
to it. Yeah.
It's over,
The thing is, like with the cam auto glue, is you got to leave it thick.
Yes.
If you have it thin, like you would use like a tab weld or something, it's not great. But when
No.
it's thick and elasticy, it's like next level.
And
Like
I think
seriously.
his glue gun is like, I have the Limited, I have the Trifecta, and I have his.
Yeah.
His glue gun with his glue is totally different than either one of those glue guns because it's at a higher temperature.
Yeah.
It definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah. I like that glue gun too. Yeah. When I got power, I use it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's very, very smooth. No bubbles.
No, it's hot. Don't let it get on your skin because it's coming off.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
you got anything else?
No, I'm good. Your turn.
So I've got two things. I brought this on the other week. I ordered some more of these from Willie Quick, these little rubberized things. And I got a new one. And I set it up this week and I am extremely happy with it. And it's his new grippy tray. And usually has a loop on the end. He was out of stock. So when I ordered them, he's like, they're made for his glue tray or his tray for his new tool stand. And he's like, if you don't mind the hoop missing, you're fine. And I was like, I'm going to cut it off anyway. So I actually use these inside of my beta cart, and you can fit two in line with each other. And then I line these all across the top. It looks really professional. It works really well. I'm very happy with it for a very cheap price. I mean, these are, I think they were like $11 or something. And this was like, I think $30. I mean, for me, I'm big on organization. I'm probably a little OCD with it. But it's over the years of learning, being organized, you're faster. When you know where your shit is, you can move faster. Yeah. The other thing I've been using, and I've mentioned it in another show too, and it's fairly new, is the VIP new tips, the leather head tips. I've been using it more and more. I've been pushing with it more and more. I did find pushing, they were a little slick because it was leather. So I just literally took a piece of Dave Stream's crap tape from Edgy Tools, put it on there, and it seemed to grab that panel a little bit and really pushed soft. And I'm using them on crowns. I was a big carb knockdown guy. And I was going back and forth actually yesterday in between both the carb and the VIP. They both hit a little differently. I think the VIP is a little softer and leaves less divots. But it's another great tool. So any one of these guys, I mean, I love our industry with our tool manufacturers, just how innovative, it's crazy. It's almost like you need $1 million a year because there's always something new and you're like, man, how the hell did I not think about that? So keep it up, guys. I mean, look at Matt from Get a Grips in here, and to give him a little love, Dave Johnson gave me the idea, and what it was is using the Get a Grip little adapter, the bracket for the umbrella, and putting my Chubby PDR light on the side of the car because I have a never loose on it, and that clamp goes right around that ball and you can move it around. And I was like, that is such a brilliant idea, Dave. And we tried it, and I was like, man, I've had this stuff in my truck for how long, and never put them together, and it works great. So,
Nice.
you know,
Yeah.
Just figuring it out, man.
Nice tip. Yeah.
So
I
we
gotta
got
try
a
that.
couple questions real quick. We'll run through them and then get into your story. Like I said, this show is going to be a little long, but it looks like, are you more retail or a wholesale guy?
Well, I started doing more wholesale, but I really believe in having, it's like your investment portfolio. I think it's good to have a lot of different streams because, like, especially like what happened now, like
Yeah.
wholesale just died, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been trying to build my retail for a couple of years. So yeah, it's nice to have different things, like, and like I mentioned, like I'm starting to do more like with the wrap companies in town and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, those guys are on Instagram a lot, and I'm mainly on Instagram. So they saw my work, and then we hooked up. And like during this time, like I gave them a lot of attention, because I wasn't that busy anyways in April, right? So why not like build new like relationships, right? Yeah.
So what's your favorite Stanliner tool?
Oh,
You knew that was
man.
coming, dude. You knew that was coming.
Man.
Come on.
Oh man, so that's tough. Like for sure, I think the one that I'm happiest to use all the time when I can use it is the killer whale tail from 2019. So I gotta tell you the year because they're all a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like the year that I met you, I got the one with a green handle. It's like 1/2 inch and it's pretty shaved. So it can go down doors, no problem, and up fenders. You can do a lot of stuff with it. Like I've been like the rolling thing is pretty obvious, but the like doing stuff like where you drag with it, I'm still working on that. Like that's the cool thing about, like, I actually went to Lithuania to train, so like he imparted a lot of things to try. Like there's no way you can learn everything in a week, right? So like I'm moving on to dragging that tool. Hey Charles.
And that's one thing that I've learned is I'm dragging more tools that aren't Stanliner. You know what I mean? I'm kind of doing different techniques just from that, which is nice.
Yeah, it's dragging is like a really neat thing. Like it's kind of like, you've used a hot box before, right? Yeah, so that's probably like one of the weakest kind of PDR tools, like in terms of lifting up metal, right? In my opinion. So like, how like you have like a big dent and you have to start off on the edge, get the lift, and you bring it into the middle, right? To follow, like to bring that high into the middle. So that's almost kind of like dragging, right? So I almost envision it like it's like a boat like going through water, and then there's a wake behind it, and the energy kind of fills in behind. Yeah, so it's a really really neat thing. And all the Stanliner tools, like the more I use them, like the twist, even the crane, when you twist it, like it kind of rolls and drags too. Like dragging, rolling, twisting, like they all kind of, it's all interconnected. Like it's a certain style, right? And it's really cool. Yeah, I can't say enough about it.
Are you a Canuck fan?
I don't know, man. I went to a game last year and it was pretty bad. I must say. Like I was a Canucks fan back in the day when the hockey was a little bit more real hockey. Now it's like it's more of a show. But yeah, it's my home team. I gotta support them for sure, man.
And you guys that are watching, if you can share this, share while we're watching. Try to get more people in here. He's got a really good story, so try to get out there and share this thing. It'll definitely help. But let's get into your story. Let's get rocking and rolling. I mean, he's drinking on the job, so
yeah, just sparkling water.
So when did you get introduced? How did you get introduced? And let's get into your backlog a little bit. I'm going to let you rock and roll.
Okay, man. We'll do it chronological. So I don't know if you guys know, but I used to be an engineer. That was my first career. Okay. So I'm actually a metallurgist, a metals and materials engineer. I graduated from university, and I actually worked for my first real job. I worked for Toyota. They have a casting plant here where they cast the wheels. And when it was more of a Pacific Rim assembly thing, they would ship everything back to Japan. But now a lot of the assemblies like in the Midwest and back east, right? So they're kind of getting less relevant. But so I guess I have the most experience with cast aluminum. I'm a big nerd with materials and stuff. Like I used to mountain bike, and I used to like read all those magazines about titanium and like chromoly, and that's how I got into that type of engineering. And I think I was in my 20s, like out of university, and I just really didn't like the corporate life. Like it's a big company, like Toyota's a huge company. Like when the director comes, he's like a politician. Like he comes and there's a SWAT team that meets him at the airport and they bring him to the plant. Like it's big crazy.
Time. Big boy money.
They're like bigger than politicians, right? They're so like powerful. And then I was I think the last couple of years I was in design. So I worked on production floor first, and I went to design. So I actually worked on the Solara, whoopee, right? Exciting car. But so that's a long story. Anyways, we'll talk another time about that. But so I met a girl, and then her dad was like a mobile spot repair technician. And he was like one of the best in town. So I thought, like it'd be cool to try something different. I always played around with cars when I was young, more like with electronics and stuff. So I did that, and I'm really into like continually improving. So there was a point where that type of repairs wasn't like didn't interest me as much anymore. Like it just we're always like, if you work at a dealership, you're like stuck by the garbage can, and you get very little respect doing that kind of stuff, right? So eventually I opened a shop, and we were doing like I was trying to get my insurance qualifications so I could do insurance work and stuff. But in the meantime, I was still doing like at my body shop, my hobby shop, we were doing some dealership stuff and hobby cars. We had a really famous hobby car actually that came through. I don't know if you heard of like the Porsche RWBs.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like the Japanese underground Porsche movement. So the first one here was we painted that in my shop, and it got built close by.
That's so cool.
I got to meet Nakai-san.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The owner, he would come back and get little mods and stuff like that done to it. Yeah.
Man, that guy smokes more cigarettes than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah, he drinks Stella and smokes a lot of cigarettes. Yeah. And then after that, after I started my family, I just like it's like sleeping in the shop,
it's hard life.
It was like, it is tough, man. Like for the guys that have a shop, like I know what it's like especially now, like just all the overhead and stuff. You got to be really prepared and have a solid business plan, because there's money flying out the door everywhere, especially in auto body. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's going in the trash. It's going in the trash.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think like body shops around here, I think they're making like 10-15% profit margin. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you're doing $1 million, that's like only 150 grand a year profit, right?
Yeah.
So it's a rough business. So I sold my shop, and I kind of, one of the guys, I was selling some tools in my shop, and a dent guy that I knew a lot of dent guys because they would come in and do PDR for the different accounts, like different brokers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the guys, he kind of offered to train me for $100 an hour. It didn't work out well, but I said I would join their company afterwards too. It was just like, it just was really too expensive, because like he wanted to watch me try to fix a dent for hours. So after I spent like over a grand, I thought like, man, I'm just gonna go train and then I'll come back and I'll learn on my own, right? Because this is just too expensive. So I trained at Top Gun.
Oh, Marty,
Um,
I didn't know that. Look at that. I'm
yeah,
learning all kind of stuff.
yeah, he was the king of marketing, right? On Doording and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I went to Marty and I came back and his I did his practice program and within like three months I was working with the other company. And then I started listening to like these podcasts, man. PDR College and stuff.
Oh man, I'll tell you, some of those I go back and listen to, and they're still some of the best, man. Some of the information, the pure knowledge, and the
Yeah.
information on those. I mean, there was nothing like it.
Yeah, and that I guess that really changed like what the possibilities for PDR. Like we don't have hail here, so it's all route work. So what the other company was having me do at dealerships, I kind of didn't see it developing my skills, and you know, I think PR College really kind of motivated me to have my brand, right?
Yeah.
And like Don Cavanaugh says all the time, I've been to a couple of his talks where like it's all about building your own brand. Like people should know you, right? And you're not hiding behind other companies.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I did. I got an enterprise account um, from a previous employee actually. So it just goes to show you, if you're nice and you're nice to people you work with and that you employ, like it comes back, right?
Yeah.
So he
Always. I
hooked
mean,
me up.
I say that all the time. It's all about the relationships. It's always about the relationship. You never know if that guy that is washing cars, and this is a perfect example. I don't mean to cut you
So
off.
no,
The GM at one of my accounts dealership started as a wash guy, and now he's the GM. He's the shot caller. You know that this is his thing. But he started as the wash guy, so you never know. I could have been
that's right.
20 years down the road been an a-hole to this guy, and now he's a GM, and he's like, yeah, forget that guy. You never know. So go back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so like he hooked me up. And I'm super grateful because that was my first account. And let me tell you, enterprise is not a good first account
No.
because our enterprise here, they don't do any small dents. No,
No.
they all get sent to the auction. It's all like luggage damage.
Yes.
And when they call you for a small dent, it's like 8 inches at least on the side. So
Yes. Hey, but it's good practice.
oh man. Yeah, like one of my favorite things to do is blending, and like the roof damage is like that's all you're doing, like finding the waves and like moving that metal, and you get to really get to know like how sheet metal moves on a roof,
Yes.
right? You
Yeah.
do a lot of roofs, right?
I do.
So like that really I guess pretty defined like the style of PDR I did. Yeah, I do now anyways. Yeah, and the side damage, I was like pretty lost. I would say, like, to get it really nice and clean, but they're not super picky, so it worked out, right? Yeah, and then I guess that kind of encouraged me to look into different ways of doing larger repairs and stuff like that, more so than the dings because I never really got them, and it takes a while, like when you're starting out, like marketing to retail,
Yeah.
like I was like not on the first page for until like last year. So you get like stuff that's been passed down like two,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6 companies, and they're not easy dents, right?
Yeah.
But you have time, so that's the one thing.
And you're still
Yeah,
learning. You know, I take all
yeah,
that stuff. Like I said, I told you before the show, been doing this a long time. I'm still learning.
yeah,
I mean, some of this stuff, Glexio hail tabs, another tool that just absolutely blows my mind. I'm still
for
learning how
sure.
tricks and tips and, you know, you almost have to keep learning. If you're passionate about this industry, you need to keep evolving. You need to keep, if you don't, you're never going to make it.
For
Because
sure,
some of
man.
these young guys are killing it. I mean, they're killing it, you know, just coming up and just with half of the year's experience that I have and doing amazing repairs. So go ahead and
Yeah,
keep
for
going.
sure.
I'll ramble all day.
Yeah, I guess I'm rambling right now,
No,
but
you're doing great. That's what we want to hear is the story. Keep going.
yeah. So I'll have to let you know that this time, like, I had a wife and two young kids too, so I had to do it. Like, I had no choice. Like, my back was against the wall. My wife works, but like, it was enough to like pay all the bills, like the mortgage and food and stuff. But like, my back was against the wall. I had to do it. So that was my big motivator. And it just so happens, like, I love the work, right? Like, it's just like, it's so interesting. And I use a lot of my, like, my, I guess how I understand physics and like engineering and
The smart
science. Like,
stuff. The smart stuff. All us dent guys aren't that
yeah,
smart.
no, I think you would hate working with me because I'm always asking why. Like why does it, like, a sharp Zircus tip, like, how does that like push up a dent? Like,
Yeah.
like, we all know it works, but why does it work? Right. So yeah, so where was I? I was talking about
Your
enterprise,
wife and
right?
kid
Yeah.
and up
Yeah,
against the
wife and
wall.
kid. Exactly. Yeah, and I just kind of grew it from there. Like, I do like one dealership. That's about it. And the Odessa auction, and the rest is retail pretty much. Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Thank you. What's my
What's your
favorite
yeah?
segment?
Like
Oh,
like no like retail or the auction, or what if you had to pick one thing and you were like, I'm doing this for the rest of my career, what would you pick?
oh, for sure, retail, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
just so awesome. Like, to help. Like, I love helping people. I think I've always been like that. Like, you know, I guess I used to be a server when I was in high school and in
Mm-hmm.
college and stuff too. So it's always been in service, and you can really make people happy in this trade, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's such a great job to do. Like, not everyone appreciates dents, but the people that get us to come and fix their dent, they very need it. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that's a thorn in their side, is bothering them, or they need their car to get somewhere, right?
When they come out and they're
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, I never thought it would look that good. And I'm like, what did you think we were going to do? Like, what was your
yeah,
expectation before I got there?
I know, right?
Like, what are you thinking
Yeah,
I'm going to do here? I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I get
So,
that a lot when they come out halfway through and they see how ugly it is sometimes.
yes, they're like,
Yeah, and they're like, but by the time you clean it up, they're just blown away. So
yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of good feedback, right? Retail, and I think that's probably the route I'm going. Like, I had my chance to really grow a business when I had my shop. I had like a few employees, but I think, like, just being able to control my life, and feed my family, and just the one problem I have with dealerships and wholesale is that, like, I always feel like people are trying to take advantage of you,
of
and it's
course.
always a battle, right? So
And
retail is like totally different.
it's that point of, I tried to explain this to someone and they're like, why retail? You can make so much money at the dealers. And I'm like, yeah, but for one, if a new manager gets fired, a new manager comes in and he has a guy. Okay, well, you just lost everything you worked for the last 6 years. Or
Yeah,
with retail, I want to work a half a day tomorrow. Okay. You only have appointments open till 12 and you have the rest of the day. And it's not like you feel like you have to go anywhere. It's the freedom.
right.
I mean, you see
Yeah, for
Manny's in
sure.
here right now, and that
Cool.
guy works 7 days a week. You know what I mean? I'll see him on a Sunday morning. He's like, hey guys, I'm headed to the shop. And I'm like, dog,
Wow.
it's Sunday,
Yeah.
but he does his scheduling on his website, and he blocks out the time that he wants, and it works for him. That's the good thing with retail, is the flexibility. You can kind of do what you want to do, and get away with what you want to get away with.
Yeah, honestly, I still make more money on the wholesale side.
Okay.
I don't, I'm like a 4.5 year tech, so like the retail side, I'm still like figuring out.
And
And I,
you were engineer, I mean, that's a whole nother ball game, buddy. Like I get
was that?
engineer guys,
Oh yeah,
I get engineer customers, and they're like,
I
"Yeah,
know
I'm
the
an
type.
engineer," and I'm like, "Oh, this guy, so
Yeah,
picky and knows exactly what's going on." You know what I mean? He's dissecting my repair as I'm doing it because they always want to
yeah,
watch.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Hey, I love those guys because I can shut them down. Yeah, it's all about energy balance and force balance, and I'm like, whoa.
This guy knows
They'll
what the hell
step
he's
back.
talking
They'll leave
about.
me. Yeah, they'll leave me alone. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. And I do like I don't mind people watching, but I love like getting lost in a dent and just like it's so fun, like
Yes,
just changing something like that.
it is.
Yeah.
It's. I used to wear headphones a lot, and now with wearing a mask out, wearing a mask and wearing the headphones, and I had a full set of hair, and it was just too hot. So I kind of bought this little speaker I just set up, turn it real low, and I still get that same vibe of because when I put headphones on, I'm like
Yeah,
Top Gun fighter pilot on this mission, just going at it.
for sure.
In that zone.
The one place I don't wear headphones is if I have to do curbside work, like on the street.
Yeah, you just did one. Was that a Camaro or a Mustang or something?
Oh man,
Trouble.
Camaro, yeah. So that was we have this area called downtown East Side. It's pretty sketchy. So I usually send out a message like with like I need to work indoors ideally, like if it's outdoors it's gotta be private and stuff. Cause yeah, there was like people going by like the whole like hour and a half, right? And then I have the big like the giant get a grip umbrella out and everyone's staring at that, right? That's like
Yeah, it's like it
that's
catches
like a
your eye.
siren. Yeah. Yeah. So like the whole repair and I've I've had a tool taken off my vehicle before
Mm.
too in that area. So I was like, yeah,
You can't even
I was
focus
so
because you're
nervous.
stressed.
Exactly. Like I'm looking around like all the time. Like I can do a few pushes or taps and then I'm looking around. Like you can't really concentrate. So yeah, the repair is like the chances of it being perfect is goes down, right? If you
Yeah.
can't be comfortable,
And you were like working off of a curb with the car
Oh,
kind of
dude.
close. It was bad. I was like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't get low. And this part of town, like there's stuff on the ground you got to watch out for.
Yeah,
So I'll just say that. But everyone was awesome. Like people were super friendly.
that's cool. It's
It's
an
be nice
experience, dude.
and for sure. Yeah.
During a pandemic,
Yeah. Well, being outdoors is I feel a lot better than being
it
inside,
is. It
like
is.
with people really close. So yeah.
So, how did the whole Stanliner training come, and how did all that? You wanted to better
Oh,
yourself.
okay.
You wanted to get better with
For
your
sure.
repairs. How did
Yeah.
you
Cause
find out about the Stanliner and that whole thing?
yeah, so I was pretty much into like just traditional PDR, which is awesome. Like I learned a lot about light placement and all that from Marty. Um, but I guess it just comes to a point where like I had a lot of questions. Like I was on Dent Trainer, and if I was doing that now, I'd probably be on Real World as well.
Yeah,
That's that guy's video is awesome. Anyways,
two different perspectives.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure. I love his videos where he speeds it up and you can see the metal like move
Yeah,
in fast forward. That's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, I think I reached out to someone on Instagram was Dent Geek from San Diego. Do you know him? I think his name
Mm-mm.
is T or I can't remember. He's Cambodian. I'm from Southeast Asia too,
Okay.
originally. And he said like because I think he went to Marty for advanced training. And he suggested to me like if you're gonna do advanced training, like do something totally different. And that really like I really got that. Like that meant a lot to me. So I really appreciate that advice. And Kaz's stuff is way on the other end. And I really believe like if you take the two and you can see PDR, like look around it from different angles, just like how we set up our light from different angles,
Yeah.
you learn more about like metal movement and like just the trade and the art, you know, like what we're doing. So like I'm a huge collector of information. Like I think I watched Dent Trainer like everything in like a month and a half, right?
There's that
Like
engineer.
I absorbed the internet, like every single Facebook post. Okay, and who I went to, the other technician that was with me at Stanliner was Piotr from VIP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so actually it was nice to have him there, uh, because like I think Kaz can speak a little bit of Polish, because they're neighbors. So he kind of helped translate for me too. So that was super awesome. And then at nights we would like talk. He would tell me like all these like hail stories and give me advice and mentorship and stuff. So I really appreciated that. Just like stuff like, like just take the door off,
Yeah.
like he was just balance on your leg, undo the top bolt last, like little tips like that. Like it kind of gave me the confidence just to do it on my own. Like even when I had my own shop, like we take doors off, but it was always the 2-man thing.
Yeah.
And it's smarter to do as a 2-man thing, but like as a mobile tech, like I gotta do it all on my own, especially at the desk. Like I'm taking out tailgates or hatches off on my own and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So those little tips like help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your expectations when you went out to Lithuania and started that process? Your first expectations when you were going there? It's a new place, different language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Food's different.
Yeah. Food was good. Food was good, man. Very fresh. It felt good, even though it was like everything was pork.
Yeah.
I don't know what S did because he doesn't eat pork, I think.
No.
But pork's their main staple there, I think. Yeah. I it was really I was really worried actually at first because we got there at night and it was snowing. It was just like a movie, man. Like the snow was falling. There's a German Shepherd in the corner barking like really loud. I felt I was like in a spy movie. And I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm so far from Vancouver. But this little old man like with a those Russian like fur hats.
Yeah.
He walks out. This is like at 11 p.m. right? And it was a snap-on hat though, I must say. And he's just a really amazing person. Like something about Kaz that I think is really special about him is that I don't know if you know, but some of his all he thinks about is PDR, and I think that's really amazing because I don't think I would be like that. He like on his recovery bed out of the hospital, he was like thinking of new tools, and I think he thought of like I don't know which technique, but he developed it as he was in the recovery room in the hospital. I wouldn't be thinking about that kind of stuff if I was like, recovering from a major, surgery. So that just kind of shows his character, like what he's into. So I have a lot of respect for him, and like what he says works, I believe. So
Yeah.
for those
his
things.
passion just for me spending an hour and a half, which was priceless.
Yeah.
The true passion, and there was a language barrier, but he was doing pretty good. Like I could, after I spent like the first 15 or 20 minutes with him, I was like, okay, now I'm getting it. Now I'm understanding. But his way of explaining it and his true passion is priceless. I mean, it's, and I talk to Thomas periodically and I tell him and I say, look, I don't have a lot of Stanliners and I still don't. I need S to come here and spend a week with me. He's a great explainer. I learned a lot from S too. But the tools they're the Ferrari. They're the material they're using, the pure quality of them. When you pull them out, I've had jobs to where I've got my cart and I've got some Stanliners in there. I love Stanliners hand tools, the shorter hand tools, the small fish tails. I mean, I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
They're fabulous. Even the ones that are bendable. And you pull them out and the customer's like, woo. You know what I mean? They're like, that's really nice looking, and I'm like, yeah, this is the Ferrari I'm using on your 84 Corolla, but they really are.
Right.
The quality is just by far some of the best out there.
Yeah, they're super impressive for sure. Like customers are very impressed by them all the time.
Making it himself, at the house, he's just making tools. And Thomas is like, he never stops. He just keeps going and going and going. And I'm like,
yeah,
hey,
all night, man, all night. Like, I guess when you're older, you can't sleep as well too, right?
Yeah.
So what do? You do what you like,
Yeah, it's like building a puzzle for him. You know what I mean? It's his passion and his hobby at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think it was a hard start for them. A lot of people were like, the hell is this?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I remember when nobody was at the Stanliner booth. It was very little people. Now it's this massive thing, and they're doing seminars, and there's a lot of guys like you that really know and really use their tools and stand behind them and show techniques. And I'm like, okay, I would have never thought to use that there, So I think it's good. I like to see. I'm an old dog, and it took me a long time to sit back and say, okay, I need to work smarter, not harder. And I think that is the route that they're going. Kaz is getting older. I mean, I look at some of those older videos that are on YouTube, and Kaz is jumping on a roof on a car. And
yeah.
I mean, he's an older guy. Like this guy is building tools to help your body.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm all about the tools that make it less effort for you. Like there's nothing like it when you just have to flick your fingers and the dents up, right?
Yeah. That's
golden. Like for us, I think we're about the same age. I got a late start.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff is really valuable, and it's sometimes it's just effortless. Like when I can get a killer whale on an upper door byline dent, it's money. It's an easy day.
I don't have
if it's
one.
somewhere in the corner where I can't reach it, it's I'm hating that dent for sure. Yeah.
Are you a sharp tool guy?
Yeah, I really like how metal moves with sharp tips. I don't get to use them a lot because I don't do a ton of hail. I do maybe 4 or 5 a year. So yeah, doing sharp tips on a soft a roof type of horizontal panel is something it's just so clean, right?
Yeah, you can shrink it faster. Yeah. And I'm a huge sharp guy, and I've got Shane that's fairly new. And when he's pushing, he's always going for the sharp. And I'm like, slow down. You're not ready, dude. You just slow down a little bit. He's like, you use it all the time. It makes it fast. And I'm like, slow down. I don't want to buy a door skin for this car,
Yeah. I love them, but to be honest, I'm still working on how to get super deep dents clean. So you can get a little bit carried away with sharp tips on stuff like that.
Cold cut will make it real clean.
For sure. Yeah.
So, you go to Lithuania, you come back. How do you feel after you left out of there?
Oh man, I had this, I was really it's just going to any event, right? You just feel so enthusiastic, So I got the worst, I did this video, it's an older video where I fixed this Prius roof. It's just smashed. I think someone fell off, jumped off a balcony with a tripod, and I could see where his knee was and the three points, but the whole roof was, and you know how thin that roof is, right?
Weird body line in the center.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it was so messed up, but I was like, man, this is perfect. Because Toyota, they have a lot of space between the bracing and between the braces. Perfect roof. Yeah, perfect roof for trying different techniques and stuff. So yeah, I did the worst dents I could. I failed at some and succeeded, and I really wanted to solidify what I learned, right? And I'm still I think I left with enough that I have stuff to learn and practice like for years. Like I don't feel like I need to go back and get more because I think he's left enough with me.
Yeah.
Well, one of the really big things I got was like his conviction. Like if he could get his samurai technique on something, he can fix anything. That
Yeah.
conviction, like I was really addicted to that, and I was really like motivated to learn more and to practice that a lot because yeah, there's no stopping him if he can do that. So I'd love to have that same like confidence.
Yeah. I heard
That'd be
S
really cool.
was working with John Vidine, the Dent Reaper, and it was last year during some hail, and I could just hear S. Bah, 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 bah. I mean, it was just making so much because it was reverse blending, and he was just, I mean, you could hear it, and I was like, oh my gosh, you got to hear that all day long. He said, man, but let me tell you, he's fast.
Yeah,
So
he's pretty special, I think. Yeah.
he's
Never
very,
worked with him, but I can tell like he's a phenom. I call him the phenom.
yeah. And I'll tell you, he's an
Yeah.
extremely good explainer and hands on with the tool. Like,
Yeah.
that dude's got it. Like, he just got it, you know? And it's nice that some guys like that can take that from Kaz and really bring it
Yeah.
along, you know? And that's what Thomas is stressing all the time is it's hard for Kaz to fly to MTE and to all these events. And, you know, when you get to that age and the guy works like 3,000 minutes a year, I mean, he's working every day in the garage, building tools at the shop, you know, getting stuff ready and doing some training. And then you're flying to events and the time difference and everything's different. You know, it's, you know, he's getting to that point to where he's not going to want to travel.
For sure. Yeah. 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 That'd be a shame actually. Cause, it's tough too. Cause like, I think in the beginning they were really navigating, like we want to show our style or whatever, but we don't want to have everyone copy it. Right.
Yeah.
So there's that balance, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough situation because I think they've had issues like that in the past.
Yeah.
And it's his life's work, right? Like, how
Yeah.
would you feel if your life work was just like, pillaged?
Yeah. I mean,
So
everything in this business and any business, there's people that copy things and techniques and designs and
sure,
ideas, but you know, it works. I mean, there's a lot of guys in here that are big Stanliner friends and
yeah,
are religious about it. You know, they just love it. I mean, you got Mike in here, the dent sourcer. He bought a ton and he uses them every day. You
right.
know, so you know, one thing I've noticed about your stuff is your social media, like your Instagram. I think you do a really good job because you
Oh,
keep
thank
it
you, man.
you keep it personal.
Yeah,
And I like that. You know, there's
yeah,
a picture on there
cool.
I still can see right now. It's like you're in an auction and you're just standing there, proud as day in the sunlight. And I think you have headphones on and just this raw, real life photo of a guy that's just enjoying what he's doing. So I think you do a really good job.
Thank you. Yeah, that is my approach. Like, I mean, I think it's easy to go through life being real. You know what I mean? That's your thing, right? Keeping
Yeah.
it real.
Yeah.
Like being someone you're not is like that's hard work,
Yeah.
and that's not, I don't want to do that, right? And I hope it comes through. And I think like my PDR career is like a journey and I'm pretty early into it. So that's something I wanted to share. Like I don't, I'm not really big in the social space, like at MTE. I'm a little bit like
You are
it's a little
retained
bit
a
too
little
much
bit.
for me.
You were a little retained, but you did pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
you got up from breakfast and hollered at me. I sat there and talked to you while all my buddies ate breakfast.
I wanted to talk to you, Ryan.
You know, it was
Yeah,
good though.
one of the few. Yeah.
You know, it those events, man. This year I'm gonna miss it. You know, Vegas is is they're still having it, but it's not going to be the same. You know what I mean? It's those events for me, I just enjoy when it's my energizer. You know, it's my when I get home, I'm like, yes, like I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do this. And you know, Vegas, it's gonna suck missing it this year, you know. But
Yeah, I was. Yeah, for sure.
you know, Josh is saying he would love to see your mobile setup. He's got a ton of pictures on his
Oh,
Instagram.
really? Okay.
And because you work out of a van, right?
I do. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a right-hand drive. It's from Japan. So in Canada, we're allowed to import vehicles that are 15 years old. So yeah, it's like you probably have some mail trucks that are right-hand drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a little bit weird, but it's a little bit classier than like a
I
work
think
truck.
I think it's cool. It looks great.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I want to do for retail is I want to be approachable. Like I'm not the typical dent guy. You know, I think when you're on the other show, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it, but
Yeah, go ahead.
on Dentless
Chris's,
Touches
yeah.
show, yeah, the three of you guys, and you guys are talking about tattoos and stuff, right? And being presentable and wearing slacks, and like I think I made a comment and you laughed at it because when I show up, people usually think like where's the dent guy? Like, what's this accountant doing here?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
It's all
But that's
perception.
yeah, but that's good. That works for me because I think some clients they prefer that, right? Like they don't want to be intimidated. So that's sort of like I'm just being me, right?
Yeah. You're the engineer.
That name was taken already, sadly. So yeah, I'm just Dent Pro.
So
Yeah.
Manny's asking, what's your way of explaining how paintless dent repair works to a client with your engineer in mind?
Um, it's I kind of tailor it to every I sometimes I'll ask them like what their background is. And if they're a technical person, then I'll get into like engineering-ish, like physics kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess I talk a lot about like access and like moving the metal around. Like one of the things that's happening in my head right now is like all the Stanliner stuff and glue pulling and stuff. It's and even the sharp tips. Like I think like the metal, like when you push on a panel, it's not so much like pushing the metal up, but it's convincing all the stuff to come in. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like sharp
Exactly.
tips, it's like you're moving them. It's hard to see it because like you're spreading, like it's a balance of the energy in the dents and all around. So you're comparing like a point to like 360 degrees around. So it's really hard to see all the highs around it.
Yep.
But I think that's what's happening, right? Um,
Yeah, you're drawing it
so
all in.
yeah, the draw, right? Yeah, Marty talked a lot about drawing
Yep.
metal to the tip. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of tailor it for everyone.
That
Um,
makes sense.
but basically, it's if you want to talk to an engineer about it, it's basically like an energy balance, a force balance. So like in a system, like the energy is always balanced out, and there's a lot of stuck energy outside that are trapped in crowns, and that's our job is to move that in.
Yeah.
So it's not trivial, like where you just heat up and cool it or whatever.
Yeah.
We actually have to convince it to come in. Um, yeah, so that's the thing that I've been talking about a lot with my clients. Yeah, if they want to talk about it. Some
Yeah. I
people
always
are
try
just
to
like
explain.
whatever.
Always
Yeah,
try to explain their, you know, you'll look at a picture of a dent and you're like, okay, they're like, well, it's just dented right here. And I'm like, well, what about all this? And they're like,
yeah,
I don't know what that's from. And I'm like, well, the metal displacement from that dent has to go somewhere. And it's
right.
here. It's bulged here, and that's all part of this area. You know, so you try to break it down in layman's terms. You know, you try to break it down to where they understand
Yeah,
and get it. But you know, some guys still don't understand that. You know, they don't understand how crowns work, and you know, and I learned a lot probably in the last probably 8 years because I was trained. I worked for Dent Wizard. Was trained by Dent Wizard, and crowns. So say you have a crown, they used to
okay.
tell us to beat on this crown first, pow, 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 and then push. Well, that's not the cleanest way of doing it. You know what I mean? A lot of times I'll get in there and make a little bit of push and then beat some crowns and push. It's a give and take. You know what I mean?
Balance.
Because if you're
Yeah.
in there beating these
Equilibrium.
crowns,
Yeah.
you're making a mess and then you have to clean that mess up.
Yeah. You don't know where it's going to end up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the big thing is also like stretch metal too.
Yeah.
Like knowing about the stress strain curve and when it's overstretched, stuff like that.
I still have that problem. I still
to explain it or to
get it. Like sometimes I'm like, this doesn't really look stretched, but it's bad, but it could be. And I'll get halfway in and I'm like, man, I need a PDR box.
Yeah, it's really an art. Like it's really complex because the shapes we're not dealing with flat panels. Like there's tons of curves, there's body lines where there's like pre-made stresses in the panel and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's even for an engineer, like I fixed dents for my profs before. So I've at the university too.
Yeah.
And I'll ask them hard questions that they can't answer right away. Like they have to like look into it. Because it's complex. There's geometry and there's the metal and stuff, right?
So he's asking, what would you do differently getting into this field if you had to do it all over again?
That's my why question. I don't know, man. I can't, who knows what would happen if I took a different route, right? Like,
and I think that's all of us. You know, I wish I would have started when I was like 17.
Yeah.
You know?
But who knows? Maybe you wouldn't have got it, right?
You're right.
You would have hated it. Or it just wouldn't click for you at 17, you know?
You know, that's like Shane. He's been with me a little over 2 years. And I'm like, you're going to have that click moment. Like, you're not there yet. You're close. But one day you're going to wake up and you're going to push a dent and you're going to say, I got it. And we all learn at different paces. You know, we all learn. Some of them get it right away. Like they said, there's Scott Simpson. I met at MT the same year I met you, and self-taught straight off a dent trainer, no physical training. And he does an amazing job. And he's just one of those guys that could take this, put it to this, you know, me, I can't take this and put it to this.
No, me either. Yeah. Like there's some guys that are just talent. Like they can't explain it and they can just do it. Yeah. And it's just talent, right? Which is very cool.
I see guys all the time and they always see them on post and they're like, this is an art, not a job. And it really is, you know, it's
sure.
Not everybody can do it. You know, not everybody can paint a painting. It's the same type of thing. Not everybody can be an engineer because you don't want me to build your bridge because we're going to be in big trouble. You know,
yeah, I was talking to Michael about this, and like if I was still an engineer, I can't imagine like being up at night thinking about engineering stuff. You know what I mean? Like now, I could be like, you know, sleeping. I'll wake up at 5 and I'll be thinking about a dent, and love it. You know, I would not have the same passion for engineering as PDR. It's the weirdest thing.
Now, if you have a nasty dent tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you dissect that dent while you're in bed before the night before? Do you sit back and you're like, okay, this is going to be my approach. This is how the tools I think I'm going to use. And this is how I'm going to do it. Do you do that or no?
Well, I usually do that when I'm doing the estimate. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd like to have like 2 or 3 options. Yeah. Like I would love to have glue pulling as an option.
And you're a huge glue puller.
Yeah, I'm one of those, man.
Hey,
glue pulling is the future, I think.
It is, dude. I mean, look at the way the collision industry is going. I mean, Charles and Kiko, and I mean, these guys are really attacking that end of the business because it's going to get to a point to where you're not going to be able to weld tabs onto a car and do that type of thing. You're going to have to use glue. And the younger techs that are out there in the body shop industry that are embracing that and getting into it now, they're going to crush it in a couple years when you have to do it. And all these old dogs that are like, there's no way that glue's going to stick on that rocker panel. You're going to be out of business.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say to give props to Michael Grady. Like do you know him or
Yeah, yeah,
he's a big glue puller too,
yeah,
and like super inspiring and positive
yes,
guy, and
yes.
shares like stuff like on his page.
Oh yeah,
And it was a pleasure to meet him at MTE. Like that's another guy I would really want to meet, other
yeah,
than you. And
yeah.
yeah, like I remember posting something on a forum like when I first started doing a dent that I should have never done.
We've all
I
done
don't think
that.
I could even do it now. But yeah, he was like, super positive and helpful, and he's been super nice to me this whole journey so far.
And that's it. Like
But
when I
yeah,
started this thing, when I started this show today, I said, your network sometimes is your key to success. I talked to Mike from Dent Sorcerer today, and we were just chatting about some stuff, and uh, you know, uh, that network, man. I mean, you need that network. You've got like John Vidine that never done the Hail Trail, went down and helped Jason Huddleston and worked with S on the Hail Trail. If you didn't have that network, you couldn't have done that. So,
yeah,
your network is you need to have a large network and, you know, different avenues. I
and
mean,
it's
me and you
different
talked a
now.
couple times on the phone, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's totally different. Back in the day,
yeah.
I was hidden in the back, covered up, didn't want to tell anybody everything. Now I just put it all out there, and it's the way to be. And that's a lot of these shows have helped. It's opened the communities up and um, kind of put it out there.
I think I've sent Marty like at least four students from my area. So I think he owes me. But
Hey, I
but
sent Shane there. I sent Shane there.
yeah,
I'm no trainer. I mean, I we're just too busy, and I don't have the time to spend. And I sent him out there, and he did a pretty good job. He's getting a little older now, but he still
yeah,
does the basics. He's getting you in that basics, and he's more on the mental end of it, is what I've realized. Figuring out your eyes, the way you handle light, the right color
yeah,
board, the right board, and
mhm,
which impressed me because I would have never approached training somebody that way.
right.
He
Yeah,
really teaches how metal works, just like you were saying, more of the
yeah,
engineering of how the metal flows. And so it's very
yeah,
impressive.
yeah. He's a big nerd too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he studies like the old school styles and
Yep.
stuff. And I don't know if you've seen that book, like Sargent's Key to Metal
Hmm.
Bumping. He was really
Hmm.
big into that. So I mean, it's a little bit different because they're not saving the paint, but
Yeah.
yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah.
Where do you see the industry going?
Um, I think more glue for sure. I think like I'm a little bit scared because I mean in Canada we're kind of behind you guys all the time, like a couple steps, because the legal activity isn't as hot here. Like we have a different legal system than you guys,
Yeah.
so like the threat of being sued is a lot less, I think. Like that John Eagle stuff, I don't know if that would happen in Canada.
Yeah.
Because I think your legal system is based on precedents more, and then the UK is like whatever the other thing is. I don't know. I'm not a law student, but we're somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're
Oh,
based
this
on what's written more.
Mike's on here. Look at that.
Oh,
Talking nice
nice.
about
Hey,
you.
Mike. That
You
he's
know,
an awesome guy. Sure.
very nice. Very nice. It's, I think there's going to be a lot of businesses shifting after this whole pandemic thing throughout the whole world. It's not, obviously it's not just Canada. It's not just America. I think it's across the board. Um, and a perfect example is like Vidine doing hail, he did it. He was slower at home, and he went out and he wanted to experience, and he could. I think a lot of guys, still like my one dealer that I service, no vendors allowed still. Just imagine if I had 8 of those dealers and didn't have, I'm lucky enough to where my retail really took off and I was able to survive. But imagine if I didn't have it, you know,
Yeah.
that struggle
Yeah.
and trying to figure it out. But I think there's a lot of good things in the industry that are out there. And a lot of guys that are really trying, you know, I've seen this huge uptick in social media, guys putting stuff out there. And it's nice to see. Like I said, when I first started, everything was hidden. I didn't even have Facebook until I don't know, a couple years ago. I was like, man, I don't need that. Too much drama, you know.
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
it all, and I don't want everybody to know what I'm doing, you know. And then I was like, business started to grow, and I was like, man, I really need Facebook, and now I'm on social media, Facebook, YouTube every week. You know what I
The
mean?
master.
Come
Yeah.
on, I'm just a little
You're
guy
killing
here,
it, man.
just a little guy,
No,
and I just
it's
enjoy it.
super impressive.
I
It's
enjoy it.
really interesting how you kind of went from like your local social media, like doing like the pens and the
Yeah,
the pads and stuff, to translating into digital.
yeah.
That's super interesting,
And
and
the
you
pandemic
pulled it
really
off.
helped me. The pandemic
Yeah.
really helped me. I really dove into, and this is one thing that I did, and I always preach this. In your downtime, everybody wants to relax. Okay. I call myself, I'm a worker bee, just like bees, yellow jackets are bees. I'm that worker bee that's always doing something. If I'm going to the bathroom and I'm on the phone and I'm building thumbnails and I'm always doing something, my wife's like, you can never just chill, just relax. And I'm like, I can't. Like, it's just not me. But when the pandemic hit, you
Yeah.
know, I was home for 7.5 weeks and I really dove into the computer. There was a lot of stuff. Ray Sapnew helped me with some stuff, and some other guys helped, and stuff that I just didn't have time to dive into and really do. So when you guys
Yeah.
have these slow times, this is the time to do the shit you really don't want to do, because the stuff I did in the pandemic paid off for now that when I reopened. I can see a
For
huge
sure.
difference. And even in just some of my Facebook posts and the photos, and I dove into that and I was really trying to figure out other options to change things. And sometimes you need to push yourself. Man, I can't do this. You think I
Yeah.
knew? I was on Chris's show. I'd never handled any of the broadcasting or setting it up. I didn't know how the hell to do this. I just figured it out, you know?
Yeah. You picked it
So,
up quick. Yeah.
you know, videos. I'm no videographer. If you believe how many times sometimes we take takes, because I'm like, man, that's blurry as hell. You know, that you pick up your camera and it's got 3,000 settings and you're like, I don't know what any of this stuff is, but let's just try to make it work. You know what I mean? I'm a dent guy.
Right.
So, you know, it's do the things. One thing that, you know, I want to put a shirt out there: do the things you don't want to do. You'll be a better person. You know,
Y- Yeah. You know what would be a really good shirt now is Who Moved My Cheese? Have you heard of that book?
no,
I'm not a big reader, but it's basically about like, I think it's a little business book, and like it's about things moving around, like moving, like situations moving. Like our whole countries are like in this situation where like where we went to get our cheese, like the
okay,
mouse goes to get his cheese.
yeah,
It's gotten moved, right?
yeah,
So you can be someone that's going to complain about it and like cry about it and just worry, or you can be the other mouse that finds the route to the new route to the different spot for the cheese, right?
yeah, yeah. That's
So
exactly what we're
that,
all doing right now.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You know, life is different. We started this show with masks.
Yeah.
Bro, it is terrible to wear a mask all day long.
Man.
It is very
Yeah.
hard. I mean, today I was at the eye doctor. I've got major eye issues going on from things that I'm having to do for the pandemic. But it is what it is. Head down and
Yeah.
figure it out, you know. It's all of this will pass, you know. And I think me personally, and I tell this to everybody that I talk to, this whole thing was the best thing for me. And I hate to say it because there's people struggling to pay their bills, losing their jobs. There's deaths all over the world. But me personally, it was the best thing for me. I slowed down. It really made me stop and slow down. I get to spend more family time. And on the business end, it's a perfect reset. I learned a lot of what I really need, and different ways of doing business, and I'm super grateful for my customers. I had customers wait 7.5 weeks, and I have body shops that
Wow.
would paint panels that had PDR because they knew I was closed and they would never call anybody else. So I'm very fortunate and, thankful. I'm glad it happened. It's a terrible thing and it's still going to be a long year, but I think it's going to change all of us,
I think it was good for you to be forced to stop.
Yes,
right?
that's exactly
That's what
my
you're
mom
saying.
said the same thing.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So, and I
Right.
think everybody's dealt with it differently. And it's good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are working through it, making adjustments, and took a lot of things in perspective.
Yeah.
You
for
know,
sure.
I think on things for guys that are out there, it's an adjustment for everybody. Wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, the whole situation, everybody, you said it yesterday. I talked to you on the phone. You're like, we were talking about a situation and you were like, it's that super awkward feeling that you get sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, now it's always awkward. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You always have that weird, awkward, like, what should I do here? But it's all new.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, you reach out like to shake someone's hand, and you got to do one of these.
yes.
You got to pull it back.
Or, the worst part is
Right?
now, like I get a lot of older customers and they want to shake my hand. And I'm like,
Yes.
I'm old school. And I'm like, okay, let me just shake this guy's hand. And I shake his hand and I reach right in my pocket. I'm like, hand sanitizer right in front of his face. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if that's more disrespectful than saying no. So
you got to offer him some.
it's
Yeah.
I say the new trend is the head nod. You're not shaking hands. You're just looking over. You're like, what's up? How are you? You know what I mean? That's the new trend now. So,
okay.
you got to keep it real with the people. We're doing the head nod. This is the new 2020.
I'm doing the piece, which is
you're
also
getting the piece.
The Vancouver Dent Pro.
In the right-hand drive van.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You got to put some pictures up there. And you work out of the Drew's Tools box, right?
You know what is actually, I was looking for one, and they don't always have them, but it's actually the Dent on Dent toolbox.
Okay. It's very similar.
Yeah, I bought it secondhand, and it's actually perfect because it's actually all plastic. Like it's ABS, like 3 or 4 layers instead of plywood. Okay. And and it's got a lid that flips off, and you can use that as a glue pulling station. So it's a bit small. I'm always like trimming it down and stuff, like keeping it light. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it.
Now, I'm gonna get one more tough question. What's your go-to glue? I ask everybody from all over the place.
Yeah.
So
I'm a prima donna when it comes to glue. I have 4 glue guns. Okay.
I run
4.
2. So I carry that. You're an engineer. Yeah. It's all good.
No. Come on now. For like really heavy pulling, like I would be using Cam Auto.
Of course.
And on the other end, if it's like light pulling, like for hail or something like that, and I like to set a lot of tabs, something really elastic, like even like a hardware glue. The Stanliner glue works really well too, because I like to set a ton of tabs and then pull it up like high and then blend them all together. I learned that from Zan, actually. He did a workshop up in Canada in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And he would blast through rails. He would just like, I think his technique was he just pull everything super high, and then just blend it all out. So I picked that up, and I have a glue for that. And I don't know, I have so much glue, man. Like buying stuff in Canada, we used to we just buy as much as we can on every order, because it would get like so screwed on shipping and brokerage. Like I was telling you earlier, if I buy $100 tool, by the time it gets to my door, I'm paying like 200 Canadian. So it's just ridiculous.
That's crazy.
So we usually like bunch everything together. We buy like tons of glue. There's like Canadian distributors now, so that's helped a lot. But like they're having a hard time getting stuff too across the
Yeah.
border.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like what it was like in January even.
Yeah, things have changed. I
Yeah.
know even Thomas is having some trouble with shipping, and it's everybody's being affected. I don't even know if TDN in England is open, in the UK.
Oh, really?
So they were
Yeah.
closed for quite a while.
Yeah, it's
I don't
tough
know.
there. It's a crowded, like there's more people in the UK than in Canada, and we're
Yeah.
like 20 times larger in landmass, right?
Yeah.
So it's just nuts.
Any tools on your want list?
Yeah, I'd like to get some of those, like the black powder tips.
Okay.
That been
Yeah.
recommended to me, or Peter's leather tips.
Yeah.
I don't have any of those. Like, I don't know. I really like the like scalper tools. Like I went on a hail trip last year to my friend's place, Clint's place, and I saw how small his cart was. It was awesome for hail. Like he had just a few tools, and I learned about the Excalibur tools. Like even if you're a route tech, like the smallest one, the 3/16, the green handle,
Yeah.
that thing's like awesome because you can just like if it's a hood, you can just pop out like a clip, and you don't have to drop the liner. You can use that clip hole.
Yeah. And Richard's,
So
he's an old Dent Wizard guy, and it's all about saving the body. His
yeah,
some of his stuff is badass. I mean, he really has done a good job.
I can't say I want any of the Stanliner tools because I probably have most of them. Don't tell my wife. I don't know. I'm waiting for new tabs actually from Charles. I'd like to see more center pulling tabs from him, and yeah. But I'm just a little guy, man. I can't get custom stuff made. Like I might have to make my own stuff. I don't know. Get a 3D printer or something.
It's too brittle.
Too brittle, is it?
Darn. I mean, there's the
wait.
Ding tool guys making some stuff out of 3D printing, but it's hard,
Is it?
But some of the technology coming out now is totally different too. I mean, I know a guy with an aluminum 3D printer. It's crazy. You can 3D print aluminum. It's bonkers. Yes. So technology is definitely changing. I tell you, I think my next 2 purchases will be the carbon tack attachment for the pimp stick for the puller, because I could really use that because I already have a carbon tack rod.
Pogo. Yeah.
And the Revolution leverage tools.
Right. Yeah, that solves a lot of problems.
Oh my gosh. When I saw them, I was like, where the hell have these been? Like, why didn't I think about this? I'm always putting up like 2x4s or 4x4s in some of these fenders and quarters. And I'm like, man, that solves all my problems, So
yeah,
it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, brilliant. That would make life a lot easier for sure.
Well, how can guys find you, on social media?
So yeah, like this Pax Gnarly Van Dent Pro, but you can Google Van Dent Pro and you can find me on Instagram mainly, Facebook, and I'm starting a little bit of YouTube, like longer videos and stuff, just trying that out. Oh, can I mention something? I didn't mention this to you, but I got a free tool for you guys, especially the newer guys. Okay. So I made this website. I'm an MTRX user, so it's awesome. But I think there's a big gap between MTRX and like everyone else, like that's not using any kind of software. So I made this website called pdrcost.com. Basically, it's a web tool. And it's got a slider on it. You can select like 6-inch dent to 8-inch dent or whatever. And you can click 2 complexities like aluminum or body line. So it's super basic. That's all it does. And if you have trouble like convincing someone about a price, you can direct them to that website and they can do it themselves. Or if you want to keep it on your phone and you can just like figure out a price for like a 3-inch aluminum dent on a body line, it's right there. So it's just pdrcost.com. It's free.
Look at that.
I have some of my branding on there, but I'm going to be taking that off because I I want to give back to the community, and I pay for it. Like, it's not much, like, to have a website, but it's something that I can do. Like, I love our industry, so and it's gonna help, like, us get our value, at least on at the grassroots level too. So have at her. It's yours. It's free. It's always going to be there.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool that you did that. And I'm sure guys will reach out to you after the show to get the information. And that's one thing I could have a whole nother show on pricing. And, we got hit with hail, and we have a large body shop group that's all over the country. That there's a bunch of them here, and, a company from the other side of the US came in and, are giving 50% discounts. And I'm like, you're just killing the industry, bro. Like, you're not doing any help to anybody. I think we really need to really push and try to get everybody on the same page, or at least close to the same page, because when you start that type of thing is when you get into the same issue that the body shop has, is when the insurance company starts controlling that stuff. And we don't want that. Right now, we're kind of in the background, and we kind of do what we want to do. But when we get to that point of massive discounts, or, I know I talked to Mike from Heavenly Hail, and he was like, man, there's some guys around the corner, just no deductibles and price cuts. And, it's just hard in our business to try to keep that force of pricing. So remember, guys, sometimes I'll walk away from a customer for $50. They're like, you're going to walk away from a $200 job? Yep, I sure am. So, stand your ground. Always just try to do the right thing, and it'll pay off, Yeah. But I hope,
you
guys,
eat,
what?
You got to eat still, but
true. But
we gotta start, like, at a certain level. And if you want a discount, that's your thing, like, yourself, right?
Yeah.
Your needs.
You just I think we're still undervalued. I think a lot of our repairs are still undervalued. So, and we can only go up. So, certainly with some of the repairs, I mean, some of the stuff you're fixing, I mean, is terrible damage, that back in the day, we would all be like, nope, that needs a body shop, So, and I think we're doing it at a fraction of the cost. So, but look, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, you've followed me for a long time, and I was like, I got to get him on. He's a big Stanliner guy. He's doing great stuff on social media, and just a good personality. You're just a good person in the industry, and keep up the good work.
Likewise, Ryan. Like, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Just go check him out. Look at his stuff. I'm telling you, message him. He's an easy guy to talk to. He's gonna call me tomorrow and be like, man, I can't even get work done. I've got all these guys reaching out. But hey, keep it up.
Thank you.
all you guys be safe. Go check out Paksas stuff, and
thank you.
Living life, dude. Do the right thing.
For sure.
Stay safe. I got
sir.
another interesting guest next week, so you guys are going to be shocked about that one. I may wait till the very end of the week to post it.
Nice.
But if you guys need anything besides that, reach out. I'm here. I'll talk to anybody. You're not bugging me. It's what we're here for. So I appreciate all the followers. If you guys can like, share, comment, whatever. I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's taken like 2 years, but I'm at like 900, so I'm kind of excited. It's been a long road, but it's all in good fun. So remember, guys, keep it real, and I will see you next week. See you guys.
All right. See ya.
What a great guy. I really enjoy the conversations that we have on the phone, and just a true passionate dent guy. So make sure you go follow him. Keep it real. And I will see you guys next week. See you guys.